The good news is you can save yourself a lot of wasted time and money and just watch this video. Hi, I'm Luisa Zhou, your big sister in business with actionable advice to help you build your own profitable business. Starting with the first lesson, a mistake which I am embarrassed to admit I have made quite a few times. You see, I love learning, especially from mentors and coaches who've already done the things that I want to do. But who you hire as a coach can make a big difference. I hired my first business coach because I was impressed by how quickly she'd grown to 6 figures, which seemed like an impossible dream to me at the time. Turns out, all she knew was how to help you build a business exactly like hers. When I'd ask her about other strategies, all she could say was, well, this worked for me. It should work for you too. But finding a mentor who truly knows their stuff is just the bare minimum. How they earn their skills and experience is just as important. I've hired a lot of coaches for their successes, but I'd consider about $50,000 of those hires bad investments for one reason. I didn't realize until later that they had had a fairly smooth journey getting to where they were. Of course, they worked hard, but they haven't experienced the sting of failure or developed the Herculean strength it takes to pull yourself back up. If someone hasn't struggled like that themselves, they can't understand the struggles that you are going through. They definitely can't help you overcome them either, because for them, it should be a lot easier. To avoid that happening to you, find mentors who have failed a lot. Once you have someone like that in your corner, you're gonna feel a lot more confident that you are not alone, because you'll have someone who not only has your back, but who can actually guide you through anything that comes up. But even the best mentor can't guarantee that you're gonna hit your goals. There's something else you need that is just as important. No matter where you are in your business, I'm betting you probably feel like you have a never-ending list of to-dos, right? I know I feel that way even now. If you're starting out, you have to do all of that yourself. As you grow though, you will want to hire the right team to help you. But there's a big difference between hiring someone because it's time and you're excited for what you'll be able to do together versus hiring someone because you're afraid you won't be able to grow or figure something out without them. Nowadays, the majority of sales in my coaching/course business come from an evergreen sales system. But believe it or not, about 6 years ago, I had no idea if it'd even be possible to build this kind of system. I had failed a few times already and I wanted help, but I couldn't find anyone who knew what they were talking about. Eventually, I found a company that seemed a little more legit than the others. Out of desperation, because I wanted so badly for them to be able to help me, I hired them because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to figure it out on my own. The price? $20,000. Halfway through, I realized they didn't know what they were talking about. I made the decision to call them out. Thankfully, I only had to pay half the amount, but I could have saved myself all of it if I had known this advice back then. Never make an investment out of fear. But there's a happy ending in case you're in a similar situation. It took a few years and a lot of money, but eventually I figured it all out. The strategy, marketing, automation, sales pieces, and copywriting. If you are willing to put in the time and do the work, you can do anything. High five to that. But hitting your goals isn't all sunshine and rainbows either. There's actually a huge potential pitfall to growth that you want to be aware of as well. If you're like me, you're impatient. When you see an opportunity, you go for it. But it's important to realize not all growth is created equal. There's the growth that moves you forward, but there's also the growth that sets you back. As an entrepreneur, you want to learn to distinguish between the two. One example is growth that is not actually scalable. I first grew this business to 7 figures using primarily Facebook ads. In the beginning, I scaled ad spend quickly from 5,000 to 10,000 to 80,000. I assumed that if I scaled ad spend from 80,000 to 200,000 on my next product launch, I would see a similar ROI and make more money. I assumed wrong. Profits tanked because there was a cap on how much we could profitably spend on Facebook in a short amount of time. If I had increased my spend just a little more steadily, I would have realized that a lot sooner. And Saved a lot of money in the process. But that doesn't mean that fast growth isn't possible or that you shouldn't aim for it. The key is to focus on growth that moves you forward. You can learn to identify that type of growth by studying other people's mistakes and successes. That's why I share a breakdown of how I made $106,000 in 4 months before I left my 9-to-5 in this video. You'll see my strategy and numbers breakdown and build more belief in what's possible for you. I'll see you there.